4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Friday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of our great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and as always, streaming on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You can always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. We got a whole lot to do today. Let's start off, though, with the NBA. Last night, you had one game, and the game did go how we expected for the most part. It was like a little bizarre when Anthony Edwards unfortunately got hurt, and then you're thinking, you got Steph out. Who knows when Steph is coming on back? Maybe Wednesday at the absolute earliest. And then Anthony Edwards looked like he rolled his ankle, and the way that he was needed assistance getting off the court, I didn't anticipate Anthony Edwards to be back anytime soon, let alone the second half. Well, Anthony Edwards got the Paul Pierce treatment, I guess, then got back onto the court in the second half, and the Minnesota Timberwolves did what we expected, which was even up this series at 1 apiece. And away you go with the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves, even though the Golden State Warriors do not have Steph Curry, this being all tied up at 1-1, with the series shifting back to the Bay Area for a game number 3. So, usually what transpires when Steph Curry is not available, or Steph Curry is hurt, or Steph Curry is not close to returning to basketball, you would usually anticipate others on the Golden State Warriors to elevate their game, lead this team, and find a way to get this team in a spot where it could still have a chance to win the series whenever Steph Curry comes back, if he even comes back at all. And a lot of times, right, in years past, people will look at who to step up. A Klay Thompson, right? A Wiggins, an Andre Iguodala. You know, some of the names that have been in the Warriors. Even Kevin Durant, obviously, when he was there, it was different. But those names that I just mentioned, none of those guys are still on the team. So now you're relying on Jimmy Butler. You're relying on Draymond Green. And folks, anyone surprised what happened with Draymond Green last night? If you are still shocked by this, I'm just going to say you're an idiot. Like, there's no way anyone could be surprised that Draymond Green acted like a jackass last night and then plays the role of victim after the game, which I don't know what's more offensive. What Draymond did on the court or what Draymond did off the court after the game. And let me be clear. On the Draymond Green scale, the technical foul that he got last night and the way that he just throws around his arm and his elbows, last night wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen Draymond Green do. Like, seriously. That's what Draymond does. And the Warriors enable it because the Warriors, A, are afraid of Draymond Green, but also they enable it because Draymond Green has won a lot of championships. And we've seen what is a big flaw of the Golden State Warriors. They don't know how to say goodbye to a legend in their franchise. So, with all that being said, let me just address this, because I think there's two different parts of this conversation. Because Draymond tried to make this about race after the game, how he's being portrayed like an angry black man, his words, and how he's annoyed by that. Let me just make this case and this point, and I'll say it abundantly clear. There was an issue last night, independent of what happened on the court, independent of what Draymond is saying after the game. There was an issue, I guess, with two dopey Timberwolves fans who said something to Draymond Green, and I guess it was racial. I'll be the first one to say it. If that is true, the actions of those fans are absolutely deplorable. I don't know what was said. All I know is one fan was ejected and then one fan left on his own accord. I guess the Timberwolves released a statement not that long ago. Danny Emmerman, who covers the Warriors, he basically found a way to summarize the statement. It said the Timberwolves confirm that one fan was ejected for violating the code of conduct in an incident involving Draymond Green last night. Another fan left on his own accord as a nearby fan accused him of making racist comments towards Green. So if that's the case, right, that you had these two bozos that went to a game and Draymond Green is on a stationary bike, which is right next to the fans. Like, when I was at the Knicks game a few weeks ago, Jalen Brunson was sitting adjacent to me on a stationary bike. So that is common. I see some people say, oh, why is Draymond basically in the stands with the fans? There's just, the NBA, unlike any other sport, they give fans that are close up the closest access out of anybody. So if you have two dopes that go to a game and scream things that are racist or scream things, quite frankly, where you using any profanity, like if you're just going to go to a game and chant F Draymond, okay, I'm fine with that. But like if you're crossing a line, then that's totally different. And if you're going to race, if you're going and just like individually harassing Draymond Green, those are things I don't stand for. But let's get back to what happened on the court. So Draymond Green picks up a technical foul, right? Throwing his elbow around. They review it. They issue a technical foul. And then afterwards, Draymond Green, I know people say that he's an easy target, right? And people are always out to get Draymond Green. And don't get me wrong. There is a heightened awareness for Draymond Green with the way that he plays basketball. And sometimes if something isn't intentional, it's going to be viewed as intentional because we are so far past the point of giving Draymond Green the benefit of the doubt. You know, I'm not directly comparing it to Ja Morant, but like, for example, if Jalen Brunson did like a gun celebration after hitting a three-point shot, is anyone freaking out? Is it a story? No, he still may get fined for it. But if you have Ja Morant doing a gun celebration with what he's done in his past, it's totally different. So I understand there's a heightened awareness for what Draymond does, and people are just tired of it. But this guy gets away with so much. And Draymond Green, who always thinks the league is out to get him, who always thinks the officials are out to get him, who always thinks he's the victim and he does no wrong. Well, Draymond, then quite frankly, with the way that you accosted that official last night after already picking up one technical foul and the language that you used, your ass should have been thrown out of the game. So let's stop acting like Draymond Green is treated unfairly and he's portrayed unfairly. When I watch Draymond Green, personally, right now, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze anymore. I know why the Warriors enable him, because A, they're afraid of him, and then also B, he's won championships there. He's a franchise legend there, and they have a tough time saying goodbye to someone like a Draymond Green, who obviously the organization still thinks they need him. But like Draymond, you constantly throw elbows around. You constantly shove people. You constantly kick people. You have punched your own teammate at one time in the face. You had deplorable, and I mean deplorable, comments about Karl Anthony Towns after he lost a close family friend to what? Hype up and promote your podcast? And to spread a false narrative about Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns in the year of 2025? Draymond Green continuously shows you who he is. And I understand there's a villain role in sports. I understand, right? Draymond Green is a player. If he's on your team, it may be a little bit insufferable, but he's your guy and the rest of the league hates him. But stop with this nonsense, making it a race issue. Because no one's sitting there saying Draymond Green is an angry black man. His words, what he was complaining about after the game. People, though, are just tired with your antics. They're tired with your bull crap because you continuously act like a jerk, do stupid things, and then you pretend like you didn't do anything. And we know that you don't hold yourself accountable because the Golden State Warriors failed to hold you accountable. And Steve Kerr said it after the game. Listen up. This is the head coach of the Golden State Warriors in Steve Kerr talking about Draymond Green and the technical foul.
It's part of Draymond, you know, his the same thing that makes him such a competitor and a winner, puts him over the top sometimes. And, you know, we know that. And it's our job to try to help him stay poised, stay composed. But the competition is so meaningful to him that, you know, occasionally he goes over the line.
I'll tell you this. I like Steve Kerr. I do. When it comes to Draymond Green, Steve Kerr has been embarrassing. The way that Steve Kerr has handled and enabled Draymond Green, it's laughable. And I'm not going to sit here actually and freak out about Steve Kerr. You know, I'm not going to let Draymond Green and Steve Kerr make me go nuts And I'm just going to have a calm conversation for the next 5 minutes before we go to break. All right? But come on, Steve Kerr. That's just Draymond being Draymond. Nothing we could do about it. You know, sometimes he crosses the line. Sometimes he takes it too far, but it's all about the passion. And it's all about the desire that Draymond Green has to be a great teammate and win. Oh, my God. You know, Ryan Hot Take Hickey, I'll give him credit. He used the term on the radio a few weeks ago. Where I forget what he was talking about, but he's like, they're a bunch of cucks. Like, when it comes to Draymond Green, Steve Kerr's like a cuckold. That's what he is. There is no doubt about it. It's amazing to me what Steve Kerr allows Draymond Green to get away with. And he is one of the most successful coaches in the NBA. And Steve Kerr has a backbone. Steve Kerr is never afraid to give his opinion. Steve Kerr is never afraid to be outspoken on basketball matters or non-basketball matters. But when it comes to Draymond Green, like, Steve Kerr backs himself into a corner, asks for a blankie and a warm glass of milk and some cookies, and cries himself to sleep. It's like he's afraid of Draymond because they all know Draymond is crazy. They all know Draymond is a lunatic, and they don't want Draymond to snap on the people inside that locker room, like what he did to Jordan Poole and punched him in the face. And the ironic part is Steve Kerr knows what it's like to get punched in the face by a teammate. That's the irony here. So I'll play you the Draymond Green comments. This is Draymond after the game. Remember, they lost. He got a technical, and he walks into the locker room, and this is the statement that he gives the media before walking away like a big baby.
Look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family, and I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. What media member? Like, I'm being serious here, Draymond. If you were on the show right now, which you know you're never coming on, and, you know, maybe you could address this on your podcast. Maybe someone could keep you in line in your podcast. It could actually ask you a question that's worth actually listening to and hearing the answer to. But I would ask Draymond this. Hey, Draymond, try to educate me here. Who's called you an angry black man? Like, who's portraying you that you are uneducated? Because I don't think anyone really, in the terms of the media, and I can't speak for all, but I can't recall someone saying, oh, when Draymond Green has with these actions up, that's just an angry black guy, right? People just look at your actions and they say, no, that's Draymond Green being Draymond Green. That's Draymond Green showing you his true colors once again, where Draymond Green punches a teammate. Draymond Green constantly kicks other players in areas they shouldn't be kicked. He puts his hands around players' necks. He says disgusting things about Karl Anthony Towns when Karl Anthony Towns had a loved one pass away. So, like, I don't think people are sitting there saying, oh, yeah, that Draymond Green, he's uneducated. Even though he does dopey things. But that's different doing dopey things on a basketball court and then saying, oh, someone's not educated. I don't think people look at Draymond and go, oh, that's just an angry black guy. No. I think they look at Draymond Green and they say, he's a villain. He's a pain in the ass. He's someone that you love him if he's on your team. You maybe don't even love him if he's on your team, but you tolerate it. But if you're going up against him, you hate him. But this is just constant Draymond Green. And once again, let me be clear. If there was some sensitivity here to whatever was said by those two fans to Draymond, which I don't know what they said, and that's why race was on his mind, okay, then I can understand that part. But if you're looking at the way that you get officiated or you get covered in the media, and you think this is just a portrayal of you being an angry black guy, then that's ridiculous. I don't understand it. It doesn't add up to me. And you know what? I was listening to our morning show this AM on the network, and I thought maybe we'll play it for you in the news brief coming up later. I thought EJ Stewart had a great commentary on Draymond Green. It was really good. Because, right, there are people that get portrayed as angry black men that aren't angry black men. Like, I understand that stereotype. I do. But Draymond using that stereotype here, no one's accusing him of that. They are just judging you based off your actions. And it's not like it's a one-off thing with you. We talk about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 things a year with Draymond Green. And it's a never-ending cycle. And you know why it never ends? Because the Warriors have never put their foot down and have ever had a backbone and a pulse and looking like, hey, we're going to hold Draymond accountable. They just keep on letting him get away with everything. And when you let someone get away with everything, guess what? They start to believe that, oh, they're the victim. But Draymond Green playing the victim role last night, ugh, disgusting. Like, all this guy had to do a few weeks ago when he went after Karl Anthony Towns, just say, hey, I got it wrong. Instead, he said, oh, the Draymond Green show with Draymond and I think it was Baron Davis has to continue to go on. Like, think about how sick of a person you are where you make up a narrative about someone missing a game when the truth was that person was dealing with the loss of a close family friend, right? You make up this narrative, and then when you're wrong, you go and promote your podcast, and you go, hey, I just heard what I heard. Come on, Draymond. I would say you're better than that, but you know what? You're not, because you're a clown. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a break. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. If you want to chime in on Draymond, you could give us a call. Also, tweet us. Get us on Instagram, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. We're getting a little clarity. I don't have a final answer, but we're getting some clarity on the college football playoff expansion down the road. Do I like it? I'll give you my response next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, this is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We opened up this Friday program talking about the silly antics of Draymond Green and how, once again, he just refuses to take any accountability, and there's always an excuse for Draymond. This one, though, when I saw the comments after the game, and I go, that can't be a real quote. But it was from Draymond Green, who's now making this a race issue, and it has nothing to do with the way that Draymond Green is being portrayed, and anyone saying, oh, his words, you know, he's sick and tired of being portrayed as an angry black guy. That's not why Draymond Green gets criticism, right? Like, there's stereotypes out there. That does exist. I acknowledge that. But Draymond, you get portrayed as someone that's a bad teammate. You get portrayed as someone that is a hothead, is a loose cannon because of your actions and a dirty player over and over and over again. Like, it's multiple things, dude. It's one thing when you're punching people, right, that are your own teammate, and then you're elbowing people, and then you're kicking people in the junk, right? That's all one issue, big issues. But then off the court, when you have something serious, that you throw out this fake news information about Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns in the year of 2025 from an issue that happened years ago, that Karl Anthony Towns was ducking Jimmy Butler at Madison Square Garden in New York, and that's why he didn't play. And the fact is that Karl Anthony Towns was dealing with a death of someone close to him. And then when you get called out on that, you're like, oh, no, I just go off what I heard. And then, the Draymond Green show with Baron Davis has to roll on. Like, you come off as a clown. So it's like a multitude of incidents. And this one's cost him an NBA Finals because he kicked someone else in the junk, right? So it'd be one thing if you're just kicking players in the junk and you're throwing elbows, right? And you're being a villain on the court. You've punched your own teammate, dude. And then you've attacked other players in the league when they're dealing with something personal to them, and it couldn't be the farthest thing from the truth. So Draymond, you've shown me who you are. And you do it over and over and over again. This is not you being portrayed unfairly. This is not the league being out to get you. This is not the refs saying, oh, now we have to watch Draymond Green extra carefully, and there's things that are happening that are getting called that shouldn't be getting called. Stop it. Just stop it. You're lucky that they didn't toss your ass out of the game and gave you another technical. Because I'll tell you this. I'll just use Jalen Brunson, for example. Again, if Jalen Brunson was barking at the referees and using that language to the referees, guess what Jalen Brunson would have got? A technical. But you didn't get the technical there. And Steve Kerr, he comes off like a clown too. Oh, it's just Draymond being Draymond. This is what happens with Draymond. Oh, come on, Steve Kerr. That's terrible. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let's go to San Antonio. Kevin is next up on the Zach Gelb Show. Kev, what's happening? How you been, my guy?
Nothing much, man. I'm listening to Draymond Green. He tripping and stuff, and I think this reminds you of Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman 2.0. I mean, he does this crazy stuff. He ain't gonna get caught. He's not a madman. He just acted like Shaq say. NBA, nothing but actors.
I don't know how much of an act it was with Dennis Rodman. I will say this. I think it's a fair comparison, and you could say that it's in the same zip code, even with how crazy Draymond has been and some of the wild things that Draymond Green has done. I will even say Dennis Rodman was at a crazier level, and I don't think that's a hot take, than Draymond Green. Santa, I'll ask you this. How would you compare Dennis Rodman and Draymond Green? Like, I understand the comparison by Kevin in San Antonio. I think it's in the same ballpark, but I would be more afraid of Dennis Rodman than Draymond Green. Like, Dennis Rodman, he was absolutely positively uncontrollable, and I'm not saying Draymond Green is controllable, but I think he's a little bit more controllable than Dennis Rodman. That's just me.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman, I wouldn't consider him a dirty player per se. Like, he kicked a cameraman, he did crazy things off the court, he would like yell at people, but like, I don't remember Dennis being particularly dirty. He would get in people's faces, maybe fight. Draymond is dirty. Draymond's more like Bruce Bowen of the Spurs, right? Who like would put his feet underneath players when they were, jumping in the air so they would land on their ankle, hit guys below the belt. Bill Laimbeer, who was like the king of cheap shots. That's who I think of Draymond Green. Dennis Rodman's a different animal. He was nuts, but I wouldn't necessarily call Dennis Rodman dirty.
Yeah, I would say Draymond's dirty. I would say that Draymond Green can't control his actions on the court. And I would also, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a horrible human being. But what I will say with Draymond, he says some deplorable things. And I still can't. I said it on this show, and people didn't like it. I said I hope someone would punch Draymond Green in the face after that nonsense that he spewed about Karl Anthony Towns. And that's not me acting. That's not me performing for the cameras. I was livid that day because it's just a human decency thing. It's like, have a little empathy. Guy just lost someone close to him, and you're pushing this false narrative for what? Clicks on your podcast? And I hate to break it to you, Draymond, you don't need extra clicks on your podcast. You'll get those enough. Because say what you want about Draymond, even though he's insufferable, he is wildly entertaining. So Ross Dellinger, he's been all over this stuff with the college football playoff expansion as we'll transition here. He said there is growing Big Ten and SEC support for a 16-team bracket. Most notably, it would be 4 SEC teams, 4 Big Ten teams, 2 ACC teams, 2 Big 12 teams, 1 G6 team, or I guess it's now even considered a group of 5. So it's a Power 4 conference spot, however they want to classify that. And then also you have 3 at-large bids. So I look at that, and here's the other part, and I don't really love this because it feels NBA-ish, play-in tournament-ish. They're talking about, and we've discussed this before, and I'm assuming it's the same thing here, taking away the SEC championship game, right? It would be 1 versus 2 in the SEC, and to determine the 3rd and 4th spots that the SEC get guaranteed, it would be the 3rd place team going up against a 6th place team, and then the 4th place team going up against the 5th place team to determine ultimately who's going to get that 3rd and 4th spot in the SEC. And maybe the whoever team that loses, they end up getting one of those 3 at-large spots anyway. I think this is too many teams. And this was my fear from the jump. And I've been anti-college football playoff expansion. I thought 4 was a fine number. I thought in most years we didn't look at a 4-team format and said, hey, we need more than 4 teams in the college football playoff. But I understand with money. I understand with what happened to Florida State. It was inevitable that the college football playoff was going to expand. And I thought they could get away with 6. I have thrown out that formula of 8, where it would have been a guaranteed spot to the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, a group of 5 champion, and then you have your wild card spots from there in order to get to 12. But I knew that it wasn't going to go to 8. But when they did the jump from 4 to 12, and we just saw the 12-team college football playoff, and can we be real? Those first-round games are pretty boring. And quite frankly, the first 2 rounds were pretty boring. And it seemed like there was a lot of teams that I just didn't need to see. Now, I will say this. I thought the regular season was going to take a hit off of adding 12 teams into the college football playoff. I will even admit last year the regular season didn't take a hit. But remember the extreme. We went to a level where we thought maybe at most 1, right, 2-loss team would get into the college football playoff. Like, we were like, got to be 1 loss, and then after that it gets crazy. You look back at the college football playoff, everyone stubbed their toe this year. We got to a level where Alabama had 2 losses. We thought they could still get in. Then they stubbed their toe and they got a 3rd loss. So last year, all hell did break loose, and it was the perfect storm for expansion for people to say, oh, yeah, it worked. But I don't know if all hell's going to break loose each and every year. Like, look at the play-in tournament. Did anyone give a rat's ass about the play-in tournament this year? Where earlier on in the play-in tournament, you got a lot of the big stars. The play-in tournament felt irrelevant this year in the Eastern Conference. And the Western Conference, I guess you cared a little bit about it because of Steph, but it's not like the Warriors are the Warriors how we once viewed them. So I'm not a fan, and I wasn't a fan of going from 4 to 12. If I had to wave the white flag and say, okay, it's inevitable they're going to expand, then okay, go to 4 to 8. But once you made that drastic jump from 4 to 12, you knew that eventually further expansion would happen. So this 16-team format, I understand the power dynamic in college football. The SEC and Big Ten are the 2 best conferences. So they're going to get a guaranteed higher amount of spots than all the other conferences. You want to throw 2 spots into the ACC, you want to throw 2 spots into the Big 12, that's fine. You get 1 non-power conference, non-power 4 conference spot that goes to their highest rated conference champion, the Boise State of last year. I'm fine with that. And then there's 3 at-large bids. And let's be real, one of those 3 at-large bids are always going to go to Notre Dame just as long as Notre Dame is 2 losses or fewer. Like if Notre Dame didn't lose to NIU last year, Northern Illinois, then they could have afforded to lose another game. Like if they would have just lost to like a medium-sized program and another medium-sized program, I still think Notre Dame with 2 losses would get in. But once you have that embarrassing loss back in week 2 to a school that you shouldn't have lost to, and it was inconceivable going in that you would lose that game, even though you lost to Marshall a few years ago, right in your own building, yeah, you had no wiggle room to lose another game. So you want to go to 16, okay. I think it's too many. I'm against it. And I don't love ending the SEC conference championship game, basically, and having the 3rd-place team up against the 6th-place team and the 4th-place team up against the 5th-place team. But even though I may despise this, I may detest it, I may object to it, let's be real, folks. There's a reason why you hear my tone right now. And I know I'm a loud person to begin with, but I'm not screaming. I don't have smoke coming out of my ears. I'm not as red as Ack's shirt right now. Sorry, Ack. I noticed.
It's okay. It's an easy one.
Yeah, I was going to say as red as a tomato, but I'm like, you know what? I look over, I was about to say the word red, and I see that Ack is wearing a red zip-up because I know what's going to happen. The college football playoff will eventually expand. It will go to 16. It will probably not be the last time they expand. And guess what? Each and every Saturday, Zach Gelb will be fired up for college football. I'll turn into Big Noon. I'll turn into College Game Day, right? Whatever. You'll get your nachos, you get your wings, you get your pigs in the blanket, whatever you want to throw into the oven. And guess what? You'll sit on your couch, you'll park your rear end right on your couch, you place your bets, and you'll watch football. Because football has all of us by the cojones. NFL, college football, they could take away from their product, they could spit in our faces, they could treat us like crap. It doesn't matter. I'm Zach Gelb, and I'm addicted to football. I am. Football could do whatever they want, and I could sit here, I could bitch, I could complain, I could say it's stupid going to 16 teams, and guess what? I'm going to watch, because I'm a sucker for football. That's the truth. Like how Bill Belichick right now, Jordan Hudson has Bill Belichick by the balls, football has me by the balls. That's just the reality of the situation here. So do I like going to 16? Heck no. I detest it. I do not want to see them go to 16 teams. But however they structure it, however they format it, I will end up watching. Because that's what we do as Americans, right? We sit down and we treat football like a religion. On Saturday, it's college. On Sundays, it's the NFL. And then you have to explain to your significant other why you also have to watch sometimes on Friday, Mondays, and Thursdays, and then like bizarre situations some other days of the week as well. But that's what we do. We watch football. So yes, I don't like this, but there are things that I could object to and not like, but ultimately have to accept it. So football, I'm accepting you for what it is, and I'm never going to give up on you. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. When we come on back, I mentioned Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick. There's another layer to this story, and I don't know if it's true or not. There's conflicting reports out there, but there's a whole lot more that we need to discuss about Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson next. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, after 7 terrific seasons with the Browns, it looks like Nick Chubb's time in Cleveland is done, with GM Andrew Berry saying a reunion is unlikely, and it certainly seems that way after the team drafted 2 running backs in their most recent draft. The Cavaliers stormed through the regular season and are now facing their first bit of adversity. They're in Indiana tonight for Game 3 of their second-round series after dropping the first 2 at home. They battled injuries with 3 key players sitting out Wednesday. Donovan Mitchell was in the lineup and had 48 points and is very confident they'll find a way tonight.
I have no doubt everybody in that locker room is ready for Friday. It sucks, stings, but we got to go out there and take care of business. Otherwise, that's it. But I believe in everybody in the locker room. We believe in each other. We'll figure it out.
Out west, Denver hosts Oklahoma City with that series even at 1 after the Thunder won Game 2 by 43 points. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, the defending champs look to get off the mat. The Panthers host the Maple Leafs down 2-0 with Anthony Stolarz still out after the hit that he took in Game 1. And the Jets look to bounce back after dropping the opener to the Stars. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, it's time to ask the pros. Where the listener gets asked us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Let's go to Pablo Torre. He's on the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, and he had a report about Jordan Hudson. Pablo Torre is trying to be the Bill Belichick insider like I've been this week, quoted by the Daily Mail, the New York Post, NBC, as all I did was my cousin. He texted me a video since he went to this Bill Belichick speaking event at NYU, and I asked him, hey, is Jordan Hudson there? And I knew it would do views. I knew it would do numbers. So I said, oh, can I post this video? And I guess my cousin doesn't understand how all this stuff works, because my cousin goes to me the other day, and it's his birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday. He goes, how did the Daily Mail get my video? Like, how did the New York Post get my video? How did NBC get my video? I go, oh, because I put it out there. Like, I just put it on my Twitter page, and then people follow me, and they pick it up, and then it gets, written about, right? So that's what ended up transpiring. So people are now calling me the Belichick insider. And I reached out to Bill, and I offered him an invitation to come on the show a few days ago and see if he would, once I read his book, if he would come on next week. I've still gotten zero response back from Bill Belichick. So I'm holding my breath on that one, anxiously waiting to see in high grade anticipation if Bill Belichick, the hoodie, my favorite head coach of all time, is going to get back to me. But anyway, Pablo Torre had a little report today about UNC banning Jordan Hudson.
Two sources at the University of North Carolina tell me that there has been a decision, it was made last week, by the higher-ups inside the athletic department that had hired Bill Belichick to be the highest-paid public employee, not just coach, in the state of North Carolina at $10 million a year. And that decision was that Jordan Hudson is no longer allowed in the football building.
Okay.
She is not allowed on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, don't think you'll be hearing much from Jordan moving forward.
Yeah, I understand the report. Now, North Carolina, and I can't say that I was surprised when that report came out. A part of me was like, all right, interesting. You have the head coach's girlfriend who's now banned from the facility It's like I've never heard of a wife getting banned from the facility or a girlfriend getting banned from a facility. But anyway, North Carolina, they issued this statement. While Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the university or Carolina's athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university. So, I don't know. Do we believe this? Who do we believe here? Do we believe UNC that she's not banned? Or do we believe Pablo Torre that they did initially ban her? Maybe this is just UNC saying, ooh, Belichick doesn't like this. He's upset about it. Now it's got out there. So let's just say that she's not banned. What do you think the truth is here, Stu?
My guess would be that they originally either banned her or maybe tried to talk Belichick into not having her around as much, and then that has maybe been kind of flipped a little bit.
Samter, what do you think the truth is here?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think they probably went to Bill and said, hey, listen, can you please just
keep her away?
Yeah, keep her away. Let's not have her there. I don't think it was you can't have her here. So it's kind of mincing of words, a little technical. Semantics, yeah.
Yeah, maybe they were like, yeah, Bill, you can't have her running your emails. We need your emails to come from actually Bill Belichick, not Jordan Hudson. I don't know. I feel like there's a truth in the middle, like with what Samter is kind of saying, where maybe they talked to some people like, oh, we got to get this girl out of the building. I don't know if they ever said, oh, she's not allowed in there. And then once this gets out or people started talking, then boom, UNC goes, oh, no. We're not speaking against our coach, Bill Belichick, because then he'll leave us sooner than what we would hope for. I'm fascinated, though, by what's going to happen with UNC football, because this is rare. Usually with Belichick, it's football, eliminate distractions. He is the distraction now. But can I be honest, is this distraction just a little ridiculous? I think the whole thing is stupid. If he never did that interview with CBS, or let me correct this statement. If he never allowed his girlfriend to basically hold his hand during that interview with CBS, are we all sitting here freaking out over this relationship? Don't get me wrong. It's bizarre. It's weird. He's 73 years old. He's dating a 24-year-old. But she wants to be a star. She wants to be famous. She wants to be, someone that controls Bill Belichick's brand. Okay. So would it be a minor distraction? Yes. But really without that interview, I don't think it gets to this level. But I'm at the point where I'm like, who gives a rat's ass? When Saturdays come around in the fall, Bill Belichick, how many games are you going to be able to win at UNC? And you know what? I haven't done this yet, but I will do so right now. The UNC football schedule. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know a good amount about this UNC football team, especially with the transfer portal and all that stuff. But they play TCU, Charlotte, Richmond, UCF, Clemson, California, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, NC State. There's two teams that you go, okay, they're really good teams. Clemson, really good team. Syracuse has the potential to now be a really good team with Fran Brown. Duke is obviously a rivalry. And NC State is obviously a rivalry. But that's not murderer's row on this schedule, if we're just being honest. Will Bill Belichick be bowl eligible this year? Yes, I think so. Can Bill Belichick win 8 games this year? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. But I wonder what people are going to settle for in saying, okay, year one for Bill Belichick is a success. I'm fascinated by how we'll be talking about Bill Belichick at the end of the season. Let's go around the room. We will give 2 coaches, though a coach each to start that you're fascinated by in college football to hear how we're going to be talking about that coach at the end of the season. Still, I'll start you off. Who's your first coach?
All right, my first coach is Brian Kelly, now year 4 at LSU. Obviously, it's a massive program that has championship.
My family, my Tiger family.
Yeah, they have championship aspirations, and 10-4, 9-3, 9-4. I think he needs to make a push to make the playoffs this year, especially with Garrett Nussmeier as his quarterback.
Yeah, I don't even think make the playoffs. I think you're right. They got to be a contender because you had Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner, and you did basically jack with him. And now you have Nussmeier supposed to go in the first round as well. Samter, who's your first coach?
I think it's obvious. It's got to be Coach Prime. He loses his son. His son fell in the draft, and a lot of people say it's because a lot of what Deion and Coach Prime was saying kind of scared some teams off.
Lose Travis Hunter, too, the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep, lost him. But now he has the number 1 or number 2 quarterback recruit, a 5-star quarterback recruit coming in. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of ups and downs, good and bad, with Coach Prime. So it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates not having his sons on the team, having a new 5-star quarterback coming in, and expectations that are going to be so different than what we've seen.
The way I'll say this is a year to show that Dion is now Coach Prime because he's done a really good job at Colorado. He turned them around from a one-win program to a team that was contending to win the Big 12 last year and go to the college football playoff. But even though you thought of Coach Prime first, you had Shador, you had Travis Hunter. Now you don't have the Heisman Trophy winner. Now you don't have a quarterback whose number is retired by the program. And now you walk in without those two guys, and we really get to see who the true Coach Prime is, who I believe in. So that's a great one. I'm going to go with Billy Napier. After his first 2.5 years, no one thought he was going to keep his job. Then the AD says, oh, yeah, he's going to keep his job. And then at the end of the season, they found a way to beat Ole Miss. I think a big reason why he kept his job was just so DJ Lagway wouldn't transfer. You're 6-7, 5-7, 8-5. You're not at Louisiana anymore, where I know he's a very good coach at 3 double-digit win seasons, but now it's can you take advantage with having a quarterback that's supposed to be all that? I'm fascinated by how we're talking about Billy Napier at the end of the year. Stu, who's your next coach?
My next one is Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. Obviously 9-4 year one. Year two, it's obviously a big year in terms of, okay, if he loses a game or two and they win a playoff game, that's a lot different than how we're talking about him if, let's say, they miss the playoffs or, you know, they squeak into the playoffs and lose the first game. So I'm curious how we're talking about him next year.
And we all know I have a good relationship with DeBoer. I love Kalen DeBoer. He has to make the playoff this year. I thought last year he had to make the playoff, but okay, first year, things happen. You cannot afford to have the belief from those fans at Alabama if you miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. Samter, who's your next coach?
You know, I was going to go with Sark just because of all the spotlight that's going to be on Arch.
It's more on Arch, though.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I switched. I'm going to go Dan Lanning at Oregon.
Wow, no James Franklin, because I'm not going James Franklin. I'm surprised by that.
I was thinking it, but because James Franklin made it to the Final Four, I think some of that same thing with Marcus Freeman, those two guys, because they made deep runs, there's a little bit of weight off their shoulders. Dan Lanning, on the other hand, #1 team throughout the year, got blown out by Ohio State, lost or in the playoffs, lost, didn't even make it to the semifinals. Like I look at what Oregon did and what they should have done.
Fair.
There's a lot of questions about Dan Lanning.
Yeah, Franklin, I would put in front of Lanning because that's a team this year that could be ranked #1. I'm not saying Oregon can't. Obviously, Oregon has a heck of a roster, but I'm not giving James Franklin a lot of credit for beating SMU and Boise State when he went up against Notre Dame. Even though it was more in his quarterback, but he still couldn't get the job done. I'm going Mike Norvell. Right? I think a lot of people forget about Mike Norvell, and he was on the hot seat. Then he had back-to-back double-digit win seasons, 10-3, 13-1, and they got, some could say screwed out of the college football playoff. Just unfortunate timing with the Jordan Travis injury. They didn't only fall off last year; they face-planted. They face-planted, got back up, and then face-planted again. They were 2-10, and they paid him a king's ransom. I'm fascinated to see how we're talking about Mike Norvell, and with his back up against the wall, can he restore belief with the fan base for a second time at Florida State? All righty, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. We will take a timeout, and when we do come on back, Micah Parsons or TJ Watt potentially on the move? We'll discuss.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 2 of our radio program. Coming up in a few moments, we will discuss if the Dallas Cowboys should trade Micah Parsons and if the Pittsburgh Steelers should trade TJ Watt after the Cowboys and the Steelers just made a trade for George Pickens. But first, I got 2 stories. They have nothing to do with sports. But I'm curious what your ruling will be on this. One, the question is, does it surprise you? The other, it's what do you think will happen here? So last night, I made dinner last night. I made a little potatoes and some broccoli, and I had a little chicken sausage, and I put it into a bowl. A little healthy dinner that I wanted to have last night before what's going to be a big weekend. Obviously, Sunday is Mother's Day, first and foremost. Mom, if you're listening, happy Mother's Day. We're going to one of our favorite Italian restaurants on Long Island in Menino's. So very excited to go see the family and all that jazz, and happy Mother's Day to my mom. But anyway, so I made dinner, and I'm someone, I don't know, it's like, I don't want to say it's like a weird quirk of mine, but because it's me just being clean, but I can't go to bed, or I don't like to go to bed if there are dishes in the sink. I think, right, after you enjoy your meal, you got to clean up. You go and you put the dishes in the dishwasher. So I go to put all my dishes in the dishwasher last night, and I went to go run the dishwasher, and the dishwasher's not turning on, which I've never seen happen before. The dishwasher just not turn on and have zero power whatsoever. So in my building, I put in a maintenance request. They have a maintenance man, and I just got the alert that the maintenance man came into the building and he fixed the dishwasher. So I was hoping, right, you run the dishwasher overnight, and then in the morning you wake up, you take out the dishes, and you put them away. Now, I got plans tonight, and, there's different settings on the dishwasher. You could do an hour, you could do 2 hours, you could do 4 hours. For whatever reason, I like to do the 4-hour setting. Get those dishes extra clean. So I'm going to get home at 6, and here's what I'm wondering. I left the detergent pods in the dishwasher, right? This guy fixed the dishwasher. Yes or no, Stu? Do you think the maintenance man saw the dishes in the dishwasher after fixing the dishwasher? And I guess the only way that you could fix the dishwasher is to run a cycle of it. Do you think he actually fixed the dishwasher and is running a cycle? My dishes are going to be clean, or was it just, hey, he got the power on, the power's back on, then he knows it works, then he's like, sayonara. I'm out of here. I don't need to do Zach Gelb's dishes.
Yeah, I think he got the power to work, noticed the lights turned on, and that was it. I think you're not going to have clean dishes when you get home.
That's disappointing. Samter, what's your ruling here? What do you think's going to go down here?
You know what? It's an optimistic Friday. You got clean dishes. You're ready to go. You're going to have a delicious meal when you get home. He even cooked for you afterwards.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
Plated it and
He
put it
wined
right
and
there
dined
on
me.
top
I'm
of the
not even
counter.
there. Oh, that's awesome. I like this version of Samter. I think we need more positive Samter, more feel-good Friday Samter more often. All righty, so that's story number one. Number two, one of my friends from college calls me the other day, and he goes, I'm going to Zachary Lazarus' bar mitzvah this weekend. And I'm like, what? My name is Zachary. My middle name is Lazarus. My last name is Gelb. And when you got bar mitzvahed on the invitations, they would, for some reason, just include your first name and your middle name. Like, it'd be like, we call you to the celebration of Zachary Lazarus, right? So I go to my friend, like, what's the joke here? What don't I get? Because you would agree, right? Zachary Lazarus is not a name that you just hear very often.
No, definitely not.
So his girlfriend's cousin is named first name Zachary, middle name Lazarus. And he never told me about it until he's going to this bar mitzvah. And my friend said he knew about this for at least a year and a half. So is that just bizarre to you? I will ask this. If you have a friend and, right, you BS with your buddies all the time, and your friend knows that his girlfriend has a cousin named Zachary Lazarus, which is the same name as me, and it's not like it's Mike Smith or something like that. You think it's a little weird that my friend never told me that his cousin, up until now, had the name Zachary Lazarus and waited till he's going to this kid's bar mitzvah. By the way, happy bar mitzvah to Zachary Lazarus. Hopefully you have as good a bar mitzvah as mine, because you have to uphold to the standard of the greatness of a Zachary Lazarus like myself.
Yeah, when you first started telling this, I was going to assume that he didn't know the middle name. So, but the fact that he knew the middle name and knew what your middle name is and didn't say anything, that's a little weird. Yeah,
like for a year and a half, he knew this.
So like my name is very like Stuart Michael isn't
of course.
Yeah, it's my like I wouldn't expect someone to say that but yours is more unique.
Samter, what's your ruling on this?
I mean, are you sure your friend knew your middle name?
Yes. Trust me, he knew my middle name.
All right, well, that's weird.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing also. He could just be like absent-minded and just didn't put two and two together. And then as he's going there, someone mentioned it. He's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way,
I look at an invitation, I barely pay attention.
Can I ask a question? Is the last name Gelb, do you find it common?
No.
Samter?
More common than Samter or
Kovacs? Well, not really.
Kovacs is fairly common.
It's pretty common in Hungary.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
And I also think a lot of people listen, they think you're related to Sandy Koufax.
Yes, I've gotten that, yes.
Yeah. Especially if you say it quickly, like, oh, Stu Kovacs, something like that. So I had this lady message me on Instagram the other day. And I haven't gone through my request messages in a while, which let me tell you, that could be a dark place. A lot of people don't like my takes. A lot of people don't like me. A lot of people don't like my opinions, but whatever. So I had a lady reach out to me. Older lady, and no, she's not trying to make me her Jordan Hudson. It's not the reverse Bill Belichick going on here. And she said, hey, Zach, my mom's last name was Gelb. It's not a very common name. I wonder if we're related. I'm from New York City. So I reached out to her and I said, what's your mother's name? And I'm not going to say the name on the air, but she said who her mother was and who her father was. So I reached out to my dad. I said, do we know anyone with the first name that has the same last name? I asked my grandpa too. They said no and no. So I wrote back and I said, hey, I asked my dad and my grandpa. They don't know anyone with those first names that share our same last name, so I doubt we're actually related. And, some people don't have big families, so like I had a little sympathy, things like that. And she said, thanks for checking. I do not know any Gelbs at all. And I said, oh, actually, it's more common than I think. Like there's a guy, Matt Gelb, in Philadelphia who's a writer that everyone thinks are related. No relation at all. People think Steve Gelbs and I are related. And I go, that's not even the same last name. He's just my plural brother, I guess you could say, because he has an S on his last name. So anyway, a few weeks go by, don't think anything. I then got another message from this lady. And it's not in an English language, but it's a video of Bill Clinton. And it's like a political video. So on Instagram, if you ignore your requests, you just don't see any of it. But once you respond to them, it either gets thrown into two categories, which is general or primary. So anytime any message this lady sends me now pops up in my messages. So I'm like, all right, lady, like I was being nice to you. I am not a political person. I don't now need your political takes whatsoever. I don't know if this is spam. So I restricted her. So now I don't see any of her messages. But that was just something the other day that I was just like, all right, here I am being a nice guy, trying to see if we're actually related. Maybe we invite you over for Thanksgiving or something and give you our signature lasagna and all that stuff. And now I'm getting political messages from you. So yeah, it just shows you. It doesn't really pay to be nice, folks. That's what I keep on learning the more and more I live through life. Anywho, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys, they made a trade the other day for George Pickens. It made me think, how could we continue this story, right? He gave the initial reaction. Is the juice worth the squeeze with George Pickens? Then the next day, who's more likely to make the playoffs? Is it the Steelers or the Cowboys? I'm now looking at two big pass rushers in TJ Watt and Micah Parsons, both who haven't got new deals yet. I look at TJ Watt. He has shown a little vague and ambiguous frustration. Remember, he had that Instagram post with the peace sign. What was it? Probably like 2 weeks ago, I would say now. And Micah Parsons has made it clear on this show, he said to us he has no intention, as long as he's getting taken care of leaving the Dallas Cowboys. So you look at the Steelers, they're stuck. They've reached a stalemate of their franchise where they're not horrible, but they're not anywhere close to winning a Super Bowl. They are your 8, 9, 10, sometimes even 11-win team a year that come playoff time, they're more of a pretender than a contender. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, this is an organization that is associated with drama. We know they have lost their way, and the drama Dallas choking Cowboys don't evaluate success anymore based off wins and losses. There's a reason why they haven't been to an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl since 1995, because of the way that Jerry Jones runs this organization. So I'll ask you this. With both these teams really not going anywhere, and maybe both these teams make the playoffs this year, but neither team will be an actual bona fide Super Bowl contender. Let me go around the room here first before I give my opinion. Let's start off with Micah Parsons, who's younger. Stu, if you were the Cowboys, would you say we already paid Dak, we already paid CeeDee Lamb, we just traded for George Pickens? You know what, Micah Parsons, he's like a 15-sack-a-year guy, but I'm not going to go pay him $40 million a year because whether we pay him or not, we're not going to be a Super Bowl contender with Micah Parsons. What would you do if you were Jerry Jones?
I would re-sign Micah Parsons. I just think that's their best outcome. I don't think it makes them a Super Bowl contender, but I think that outweighs trading him at his age.
Samter, what would you do here with Micah Parsons?
Yeah, if you're going to pay anybody, you pay the pass rusher, and he's 25 years old. So even if they're not a Super Bowl contender right now, he still has a good 5, 6, 7-year window to be an elite pass rusher. So you have time to rebuild the roster around him. I say sign him, absolutely.
So I would sign him, and it's not for any of your reasons. I'm not saying I'm not saying I disagree with your reasons. You guys are coming from a logical standpoint. The question was, like, if I was Jerry Jones, if I was the Dallas Cowboys, would I re-sign him? So
is it the podcast?
No, hold on. I'll get there. I will get there. I will. Trust me. I am never short on my words. I will give you the entire statement here. I agree. Micah Parsons is young. To Stu and Samter's point, even if you're not ready to win now, you could be ready to win that later, hopefully. And also, like, what are you going to get back if you trade Micah Parsons? 2 first-round picks. Are you going to find a player that is as good as Micah Parsons? The odds are usually stacked against you in finding a player who could just be close to being what Micah Parsons is, let alone just as good, if not better. And I do think Micah Parsons is top 5 pure pass rusher in the league. But I'm Jerry Jones, right, in this case. So get me out that like McDonald's sandwich. You put all the salt on it, which is absolutely ridiculous, and just say stupid things. There has never been a player more perfect that has worn the Dallas Cowboys uniform in the last 20 years that Jerry Jones judges based off success. So yes, it is a little bit about the podcast. We all know Micah Parsons is a great player. We all know he's a heck of a player. He's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. But it's one thing to be that, and then it's also to be what everything Jerry wants. Someone that is unapologetic with his opinions, someone that gives his opinions, and someone that he creates a lot of drama. Now, I don't think the drama that Micah Parsons creates is detrimental, but he's always in the news. And that's what Jerry Jones cares about. Are the Cowboys always in the news? And they're usually in the news a lot of times because of things that Micah Parsons says. So for that reason, I would pay him. Now, TJ Watt's 30. The Pittsburgh Steelers are stuck, where they're still viewed as a good franchise, a respectable franchise, but they are nowhere close to your granddaddy's Pittsburgh Steelers, where that organization was synonymous with winning Super Bowls, and there's a reason they're tied with my New England Patriots for the most Super Bowls in the history of the National Football League. Samter, if you were running the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you were Omar Khan, if you were Mike Tomlin, would you trade TJ Watt? Or would you give him the extension?
So it's difficult. I have to know what Aaron Rodgers is doing first.
Okay, he's joining you.
If Aaron Rodgers is joining me, I am not trading TJ Watt yet. I could give him the extension, and he's still valuable, so I could trade him after giving him the extension.
Fair point.
But if I'm bringing in Aaron Rodgers, I need to have the best team around me. But if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come, or if he comes for 1 year, maybe I trade TJ Watt next year, because at his age and his value still, kind of like what Belichick always used to do, get rid of the guy a year or two early, get huge return, and then watch his decline on someone else's team. TJ Watt eventually is going to start declining, and it's going to happen soon. So you might as well maybe get 1 more year out of him with Rodgers.
When you say soon, what do you mean soon?
I would say like 3 more years.
Okay.
2 or 3 more years, you're going to see that decline. And so if you can get 1 more year out of him with Rodgers, and then once next year comes and you have either a rookie quarterback or Mason Rudolph or whoever else you're going to bring in, then get rid of him, get a first-round pick or something, or whatever else you're going to get out of him, and watch him decline over the next few years on someone else's team.
Yeah, I still think TJ Watt could still have like 3 to 4 more elite years in the NFL would be my guess. Stu, what would you do here?
I would not trade him yet, but similar to what Samter said, let's say even if they do have Rodgers and they don't make the playoffs this year, maybe they let go of Tomlin, maybe they're stuck in the middle. They're not bottoming out per se, but they're kind of stuck and they're getting a new coach. They don't have a quarterback after this year. Then I would very strongly consider trading him.
Not only would I trade TJ Watt, if I'm TJ Watt, and I've been saying this since the Super Bowl, I would be begging to get out of Pittsburgh. Because here I am in the prime of my career, and I get it. The Steelers are a stable organization. The Steelers are a respectable organization. The Steelers are a very good organization. You could go to other places, and you will miss Pittsburgh immensely. But you should do what Myles Garrett failed to do. And that's not only get traded, but get traded to an actual Super Bowl contender. Myles Garrett had the right thought. But then he saw $40 million and he was like, oh, Cleveland, I'll take that, and I'll pretend like Cleveland's actually good at football. And I get it. The Steelers aren't as bad as the Cleveland Browns are. They have stability. But if I'm TJ Watt, I would want out. Now, here's me answering the question. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'd trade him too. You got an aging defense. You have a great player. You could get 2 first-round picks back. I understand you could use the same argument I just used for Micah Parsons. You could get a player just as good as TJ Watt. Probably not. but he's 30 right now. And to Santer's point, even if they get Aaron Rodgers, he's there for a year, and then you're in the same boat next year where you don't have a quarterback. So if you're going to get rid of George Pickens, who's not as good of a player as TJ Watt, and is not as good of a teammate as TJ Watt, but if you're willing to get rid of George Pickens, I think Pittsburgh needs an actual rebuild. They do this half-ass rebuild where they just buy cheap products, and then, they have a very good foundation on the house, and then they're surprised when they have to renovate it each and every year, and they make the house look presentable. But then when you get inside the house, you're like, this house isn't as nice as it looks from the outside. It's really ugly on the inside. And everything's like breaking. You got a sink running, you got a dishwasher that won't even turn on. Oh, and now it sounds like my apartment or something like that. I did that intentionally, folks. But anyway, I would trade TJ Watt. I think it's time for both parties to get a divorce, where it could be good for the Steelers, and then it could also be good for TJ Watt. Should the Cowboys trade Micah Parsons? Should the Pittsburgh Steelers trade TJ Watt? What say you? 888-710 for ISN, 888-710-4476. We will come on back, and we will update you on some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We get to a news brief, and that will happen next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
So we have a new pope, by the way. And I saw two things here about the pope. One was some fake news about the new pope. The second was when it was getting announced who the new pope was, that in St. Peter's Square, there was a Met fan with a Mets hat. It turns out that guy is from not only Long Island. I grew up in the Dix Hills, Comac area. The hometown is Dix Hills. My high school, though, is Comac. WFAN found out who the guy was. It's this guy, Eddie of Comac. Now, I don't know if I know Eddie or if I know any of Eddie's family members, but I thought it was crazy that Eddie in Comac was at St. Peter's Square as the new pope was announced, and he's wearing the Mets hat. So I thought that was funny. Now, the other thing, and this was big in Chicago, where the Pope is from. A lot of people yesterday were claiming that the Pope was a Cubs fan. The Pope's brother was bewildered by that claim and said, I don't know how that's the case. He's a Sox fan. So Carlos with a K, who was blowing up my phone yesterday, talking about how the Mets are going to get the snot kicked out of them by the Chicago Cubs. And we're actually going to the game together Saturday evening, Carlos and I. And I'm going to spend the entire day with Carlos because we're watching a Knicks game together, and then we're going to go to the Mets game together. So after 8-9 hours of Carlos with a K, I reached my quota for the month, maybe the year. But Carlos text after text after text after text about the Pope being a Cubs fan, and then never corrected himself when it came out that the Pope is a White Sox fan. So I texted Carlos, oh, Cubs, no. Oh, Cubs, no. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs don't got a Pope today. And no response from Carlos with a K about that. No response yet. So I guess he's in mourning that the Pope is a Cubs fan compared to being a fan of the Chicago White Sox. Anyway, without further ado, and I'm not talking about Freddie Adu, it's time to update you on some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. Let's get to a news brief.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All right, I was up late watching this game last night between Vegas and Edmonton. Edmonton is now up 2-0. The Oilers on the Golden Knights, they won both games in Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. And I'll tell you, Bob Wischusen does a great job on the TV broadcast. I've been saying this since 2022, that Bob Wischusen should be the number one over Sean McDonough, who's got better calling hockey. But since Doc Emmerich has retired, there has been no more electric national voice calling hockey than Bob Wischusen. With all that praise to Bob Wischusen, we will go to the Oilers radio network, where in overtime, it was a criminal stupid penalty. The Oilers ended up not scoring on that 5-minute major. But then later on in the extra session, as I'm like, please let this end, please let this end. I want to go to bed, but I'm so locked in on the game. You had Connor McDavid coming down the ice, and he found Leon Draisaitl.
crank it up the right wing to Perry. Now to McDavid with room. Gets in over the line across. Draisaitl scores! Leon Draisaitl ends the game in overtime. 5-4. Oilers win, and they're up 2-0 in this second round series.
Out of 10, because I'm a sucker of radio play-by-play calls. Stu, what would you give that out of 10?
That's pretty solid. I'd give it a 7.
Okay. Rookie score, 7.0. Okay. Samter?
Yeah, I was thinking around a 7, 7.5, something like that. Nothing spectacular, but not terrible.
6.5. It was fine. Yeah. A little bit above average. Wasn't anything crazy. It's a game-winning goal in overtime to put your team up 2-0. I need Michigan there. I need the Avalanche guy there. Like, go nuts. I don't think he hit that scale there. All righty, let's hear the Capitals radio network. This was to put them up 1-0 in the game. Remember, Caps are down 0-1 in the series. Ended up tying the game last night. Tying the series up last night as the Capitals win 3-1 up against the Hurricanes. Let's listen up to the Capitals radio network on their first goal of the game.
Mangiapane turned around, and now it's McMichael breaking behind, shooting, he scores! Connor McMichael breaks through the Carolina D, in from the blue line, keeps it low. It's 1-0 Washington.
Now, out of 10, remember, that's not the game-winning goal. That's the first goal of the game. So it doesn't mean really anything at that point in knowing if your team is definitely going to win or not. Stu, what would be your scale on that?
I'd say it's an 8.
Okay. Ooh, wow. Stu likes these just rookie scores. No decimal points or anything. Samter?
Yeah, I'm going to go, John Walton in general. We played so much of him during the Ovechkin stuff. He's awesome. That wasn't his best call, but like you said, it was like a 1-0 game.
Totally.
So I'll go like an 8 for the moment.
Okay. I go 7.3. I think it was a good call. Good call. 7.3. All righty, let's hear Steve Kerr on Draymond Green's technical foul last night. Here's the enabler, Steve Kerr.
It's part of Draymond, the same thing that makes him such a competitor and a winner, puts him over the top sometimes. And, we know that, and it's our job to try to help him stay poised, stay composed. But the competition is so meaningful to him that, occasionally he goes over the line.
All they do is just enable Draymond. And it's like they're a bunch of putty cats when it comes to dealing with Draymond Green. It's just Draymond being Draymond. Draymond punches Jordan Poole in the face. It's just Draymond being Draymond. Draymond lies about Karl Anthony Towns. It's just Draymond being Draymond. Draymond kicks a player in the cojones. It's just Draymond being Draymond. Draymond chokes a player. It's just Draymond being Draymond. Come on. Here is Draymond Green. He lashes out after the game and doesn't like the way he's being portrayed after getting another technical foul.
Look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
I hate when someone is backed into a corner, they make something a race issue that has no business being a race issue. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. I don't think anyone's saying, that's just an angry black guy in Draymond Green. I don't think that's the case. I think they're just sick and tired of what Draymond Green does because he always crosses the line and continuously gets away with it and is never held accountable by his own organization. Like, when I watched last night, I never sat there and said, that's an angry black man in Draymond Green. No, I said this is what Draymond Green does. Now, for the dopes, the 2 fans in Minnesota that I guess said something racial to Draymond Green, I don't know what they said. Those fans are idiots, and they should never go to a basketball game again if they said something and they crossed the line in a racial tone. But if Draymond is saying the way he's portrayed by whom? The media? I don't think the media is writing. I've never seen someone write about Draymond Green that is like a credible journalist. This is Draymond Green, the angry black guy. Like, I just don't see that. They go, Draymond punched a teammate in the face. Draymond choked a player. Draymond kicked a player in the cojones. Draymond lied about Karl Anthony Towns. That's what I see. And that criticism is fair, Draymond Green. Let's go to Brian Windhorst, ESPN. He says that Draymond actually gets away with technicals.
He probably should have more technicals. It was a restraint showed by the referees. By the way, that's a big complaint across the league, that Draymond gets away with stuff after he commits a flagrant and after he commits a technical, and sometimes even after he gets 5 fouls. There's a belief that Draymond actually gets too much leeway. This is not my word. This is what people tell me. They say he gets away with too much stuff because the referees don't want to be the one who ejects him or calls a second flagrant on him because they know that there's going to be an onslaught.
He's 100% right. That official, Draymond, you think you get portrayed unfairly. You're lucky you didn't get tossed because you should have got tossed last night with the outburst that you had after you got the technical foul. Let's go to Shams Charania. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he has an update on this bizarre Kristaps Porzingis illness.
Kristaps Porzingis, my understanding is he's been dealing with a lingering of side effects from the virus that he had in March, and it's something that zapped his energy. It's drained him. He's had to, rely on getting a lot more sleep over the last couple months. He's had to take IVs, immune boosters, I'm told. So he's tried to figure out ways to mitigate it, and they have not been able to, I guess, completely identify which virus could this specifically be.
I have no clue what it is. They say it's not COVID related. Honestly, if I just heard that clip and you asked me and I knew nothing about Kristaps Porzingis, I would just assume mono. Like, they're describing someone that had mono where your energy's just constantly zapped. And I'm not saying that tongue in cheek, but this is just bizarre how this has now been over a month and you just seen him pull out of games and no one really has an explanation on what actually is going on. Let's go to Rob Gronkowski. He was on Toucher and Hardy, excuse me. It used to be Toucher and Rich. Now it's Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And Rob Gronkowski commented on the Belichick-Jordan Hudson drama.
When you were on the Patriots, the whole goal was to eliminate all the distractions that can possibly happen, while you're on the team. And don't bring those distractions to the team and in the locker room. And we're just looking, down at the program in North Carolina, and it just feels like there's just distractions 24/7, down there, and there's just no football talk at all. So that's what's kind of silly about it, and kind of questioning as well as what happened to eliminate every distraction. But it is what it is, and it's entertainment. It doesn't affect me. No. I enjoy, watching the show.
I'll tell you, the former Patriot players love this because anything they would do that wasn't even deemed a distraction would be told it was a distraction. And I'll tell you, Alex Guerrero, Brady's guy, must love this too because he was actually banned from the Patriots. Bill should have to talk to Bill about how Bill is acting right now. Because Belichick would sit down Bill if he could. If this is Belichick in New England now talking to Belichick at UNC and be like, Chapel Hill, Bill, you can't have your honey around the facility. She's not allowed to be your personal publicist. You used to have to answer questions about deflated footballs and murderers that were on your team and Spygate, and you answer those questions fine. Now you're being a knucklehead because she goes to bed with you and letting her take away from the team, and she's going to interrupt you in an interview. Let me just tell you something, Bill. Chapel Bill. It's time to keep Jordan away from the team because this is supposed to be about the kids at UNC and getting an education and playing football and getting them to the NFL. And instead, you're employing someone who's more qualified to be on the Real Housewives of New Jersey than she is to be in our football program. All right, Bill, we're going to find you. Get on the line. We're also going to make you run. We need Belichick in New England to talk to UNC, Bill. That's what needs to happen. Let's go to Joe Shane. This is on the 2025 NFL Draft Giants Life Show. This is Joe Shane inside the war room trying to trade back up, where he eventually did get a deal done as the Giants scooped back up into the first round at 25 to select Jackson Dart.
Leading up to the draft, it feels like, there were rumors out there that the Giants wanted to move back up into one, and I was getting calls from every GM from pick 18 all the way back, just because everybody assumed that we wanted to move up. So,
you still good to do this? All week it said he would do this deal, and now he's backing out on us. But the Steelers aren't going to trade with Cleveland, so you're going to go ahead and pick. All right, but does that tip the hand? Do they have New York's now trying to move up? Yeah, that's going to be too much. No, this is Chargers. I can offer Pittsburgh the same deal. Yeah, so you're going to go ahead and pick? Okay, all right. Come on, take the running back. Come on, take the pick. It's more than what we just did here. All right, just be patient. Nobody's going to pound the table. We'll be all right. Nick, okay, so Houston will do the deal.
I also saw something, too, when they did pick Jackson Dart. Brian Daboll looks over to Joe Shea, and he's like, good work, Joseph. I just thought that was like the best part of the entire thing. And there goes my news brief sheet. It went right off the desk. Hold on, folks. I was so animated there that I just knocked the news brief sheet right off the desk. All righty. Let's hear Will Howard happy to land with the Steelers.
Everything kind of fell into place, and as the draft went on, you never know where you're going to end up, but you keep a little spot in your heart for where you really want to go, and I had a little soft spot for Pittsburgh. I was hoping in my heart that they picked me.
And then finally, so I guess Tom Brady said he had no really involvement in the Raiders draft process because a lot of people like myself thought Brady would draft Shedeur Sanders. Skip Bayless. Oh, my God. What is this cockroach going to say? Let's be real. Let's dust off Skip Bayless. Let's bring him on out. And what he called out Tom Brady for denying involvement on Shedeur Sanders. This is 1 minute and 8 seconds. Oh, my God. I'll see how long I can listen to this. Go ahead.
Tom Brady has called me out. I guess he's called me a liar. So I'm about to call BS on Tom Brady. Because, Tom, you know and I know everything I said about you and Shedeur Sanders is obviously exactly right. Tom Brady mentored and coached Shedeur Sanders all the way up through high school and through college. Nobody out there outside of Shedeur's family knows his game better than Tom Brady. So we're to believe that nobody in the Raiders organization before the draft said, hey, Tom, what's your opinion of Shedeur? Stop it, Tom. Quit lying to us, Tom.
Stop it, Skip.
Quit dodging the truth, Tom. I'm just going to say it. I'm calling bullshit on you because that's utter bullshit. The Raiders would be fools if they didn't ask you your opinion of Shedeur. And obviously, you said no to Shedeur because they did pass him 7 straight times.
If I was Tom Brady, and this is beneath Tom Brady, but I would get on a video and I would say, Skip, let's find out the truth about this lawsuit that you got going on with FS1 right now, what people are accusing you about. Because I call bull bleep. I want the truth. What's the truth, Skip, if you're all about the truth? That's what I would do if I'm Tom Brady. But I don't think Tom Brady's that petty.
I will say this. I'm not a Skip Bayless fan, but he was making a whole lot of sense there.
And with that, we will toss it over to Rich Ackerman with the latest Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
After 7 years in Cleveland, Nick Chubb's time is likely done. GM Andrew Berry said it's unlikely there will be a reunion with the team's third all-time leading rusher. The Browns selected 2 running backs in the draft, Ohio State's Quinshon Judkins and Tennessee's Dylan Sampson. In the NBA's Eastern Conference, the road team has won the first 2 games of the series, and the 2 in the West are even at 1. The Pacers are back home with a comfortable lead, rallying to win Game 2, and will host the Cavaliers tonight. Head coach Rick Carlisle knows no lead is ever safe, and now is not the time to get complacent.
We've just got to do our very best to maintain the kind of edge you got to have. Headed into a third game when you've won a couple.
Indiana scored the 7 points in the final minute of Game 2. Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley all missed that game due to injury. Tonight's series in the West moves to Denver even at 1. The Thunder coming off a 43-point win following their first loss of the postseason. Hockey, the Panthers host the Maple Leafs with the defending champs down 2-0. Goalie Anthony Stolarz remains out for Toronto, and the Jets look to even their series with the Stars in Winnipeg at 1. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Yes, this is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network and the MLS game preview Stu's favorite version of soccer is sponsored by Lowe's. Members get more with My Lowe's Rewards. Don't wait. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help you save. Lionel Messi and Inter Miami travel to St. Paul to take on Minnesota United on Saturday. Inter Miami is coming off a 4-1 victory over the New York Red Bull. Are they the Red Bulls or the Red Bull?
Red Bull.
Oh, just the Red, not Red Bulls?
Just the Red Bull.
Oh,
yeah.
Over the New York Red Bull last weekend, where Messi scored his 4th goal of the season. Let's hear from Trevor Sikkema, who was on the PFF NFL show, and he talked about the most improved team in the NFL for this upcoming season with what transpired in the offseason.
First team that I want to talk about is the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
As this offseason was beginning, they had the worst roster in the league. And I think that right now, they'd be my pick to finish second in the division. This team got so much better. A lot like Carolina, they allocated a ton of their salary cap that they had, most salary cap to spend in the NFL this offseason, and they did so by adding a ton of defensive players. Robert Spillane, Harold Landry, Milton Williams, and then they drafted a lot of offensive players. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, Kyle Williams, Travion Henderson, all of those guys I think could be impact players for them, and I think it looks night and day different as we stand here today. So they had to be my first team that I brought to the table.
Alrighty, so let's go around the room. Most improved team in the NFL from where their roster was at the end of the season to where it is now this late in the offseason on the 9th day of May. Stu?
I will be boring, and I will agree with Trevor. I think it is the Patriots. I like what they've done. They've improved pretty much every part of their team. Obviously, Milton Williams, one of my favorite players. Robert Spillane, someone the Raiders lost, and you guys gained at linebacker.
Used to be the face of your franchise when Antonio Pierce first took over. He was going to be the identity of that defense, not Max Crosby. Robert Spillane.
I know. He's a very good player. So I think, and then obviously you add Stephon Diggs, who I guess you never know what you're going to totally get with him, but it's just a weapon for Drake May, and I think they're going to be a lot better this year. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but they're going to be a lot better.
Yeah, the schedule's not impossible, especially their home schedule. I don't like, though, everyone's praising the Patriots. You know, I kind of like it when we used to be the team that everyone hated and be like, all right, this is going to be the year that they fall off. Now I feel as if I'm getting just set up to fail this year. But I don't have high expectations. If they get 8 wins this year, like 8 or 9 wins, even if they get 7 wins and they're just gritty, and they show you signs with Drake May's development that they could actually protect him, and you get some of these younger players that break out, I'll be fine with that. But here's how I'll say it. For the first time in, I would say 2 seasons, I'm excited to watch them. Because I was not optimistic with the Joe Judge, Matt Patricia experiment. I told you that was going to be a failure. And then last year, I knew that team was going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And the highlight of their season was a Week 1 victory up against Cincinnati Bengals. So this is the first time in 2 years that I'm actually happy and looking forward to actually watching my Patriots on Sundays. It's been a long time in just obscurity. 2 years. Oh, geez, I don't even know what to do with myself. Samter, who's your team that you think improves most this offseason?
I was initially going to go with the Broncos, adding Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga, drafting another corner in the first round.
Isn't Greenlaw hurt, though?
He is, and that's kind of why I backed off of it, because they got Jahdae Barron in the first round, drafted a running back and a wide receiver, all positions of need. So I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Ooh.
Adding Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil in trades, right? Javon Kinlaw, they added. Will Harris, they added. Jonathan Jones, they added. And then, of course, they drafted a tackle, Josh Connerly, in the first round. They added a guard, Sam Cosmi, in the second round. Jalen Lane, who's a 4th round pick. He was on the team he was on the show with us. We really liked him. I've been hearing a lot of great things about Jalen Lane. People who were really high on him, surprised that he dropped that far. And I'm hearing really good things coming out of camp about him also early on. So I think Jalen Lane could be a good, number 3, number 2, potentially once Debo backs down.
Okay, here is my guy. My guy is going to be, my team, I should say, is going to be the Chicago Bears. I just realized, by the way, why I stuttered there for a second. We weren't supposed to be doing this as the segment here at 440.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a little bit surprised there for a second, so I was like, oh, wait, now I have to make sure I have my team ready to go.
Yeah, no, I think we're supposed to do this at 5:20, right? Anyway, I looked down at my sheet, and I go, I knew what my team was, but I'm just going through it, and I'm trying to see what Samter and Stu are going to do. And as I go to jot down your teams, I see that here in this segment, we're supposed to talk about the Maple Leafs going up 2-0. Is this their year? And then go around the room. And what's the sports team that needs to break a curse? And I just realized that with 2 minutes left in this segment. So whatever, no one would have realized, but I thought it was funny. Anyway, I'll give you my team. My team that's improved the most this offseason is the Bears. You got Ben Johnson, the best offensive coach on the market, number one. He is going to try to improve and turn around the career of Caleb Williams, which after the first year, he wasn't all that, and he wasn't even the best quarterback in his draft class, and he's supposed to be a generational talent. Jaden Daniels outplayed him, and also Bo Nix outplayed him as well, and you could argue maybe a few other quarterbacks outplayed him too. Then you said, we're going to revamp the entire offensive line. We're going to go trade for Joe Thuney. We're going to go sign Drew Dahlman. We're going to go trade for Jonah Jackson, who was last under Ben Johnson's tutelage. He made a Pro Bowl. Then, in the draft, even though I didn't think that they should have taken Colston Loveland, I thought they should have taken Tyler Warren. They drafted Colston Loveland. And then with their second selection, they also got Luther Bird in the third, who's a wide receiver out of Missouri, who many people thought should have been a first-round talent. So now you have DJ Moore. You have also Roma Dunze hopefully breaks out this year. And you got Luther Burden. This is a Chicago team that if it's not now, then when, in terms of feeling good about your coach and your quarterback. And also, I think the Pope is a Bears fan. I don't know if the Pope is a Bears fan, but the Pope is from Chicago. All right? I saw Annie Agar say, we got an American-born Pope first and a Pope from Chicago before the Bears could get a 4,000-yard passer in the history of their franchise. Isn't that something?
Well, you may have taken my pick for another segment we were supposed to do.
Oh, the Bears finding a quarterback? Well, here's the beauty of it, Samter. We have 25 minutes until we're supposed to do something that we were supposed to do here. Now we're going to delay it 25 minutes. So you have 25 minutes to come up with a new one.
I had a list of 7, so I'm good.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, like...
I always have a list, but that was the one I was going to go with.
All right, well, you throw it away now. Anyway, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. What are we supposed to talk about next? We'll see if we'll stick to it. Oh, it's onside, offside. We got some questions. I'll give you some answers. We'll see if we'll stay on script. It's usually better when we go off script, but we come on back to you on your radios in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Yo, it is a Friday. It is the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? You're listening right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Each and every Monday and Friday on the show, we do this segment called Onside Offside. If you're new, welcome. You'll find out what we'll do in just a second. If you're a returning customer, you know the dealio by now. Stu's got some questions for me. I'll try to give you some answers, and we'll get that segment started right now.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
All righty, Stuart, what we got cooking today?
All right, so Nick Chubb rushed for over 1,000 yards for 4 straight years for the Browns, including 2 years where he had over 1,400 yards. However, the former Georgia star has played just 10 games over the last 2 seasons, and GM Andrew Berry said, quote, "It's increasingly unlikely that Chubb will be back in Cleveland." So onsides, offsides, if Chubb is healthy, he could still be a lead NFL back.
I'm going to go offside here. I still think Nick Chubb could be productive. I still think he could help you win some games, but a lead NFL back, no. I just think there's too much unfortunate wear and tear and too many surgeries on that body. And he's approaching right at the age of 30 years old, where he's 29 and he will turn 30 at some point during next football season, this upcoming football season. So I don't think that he could still be a lead NFL back as a number one bona fide bell cow back in the NFL. So I will go offside.
Offside.
I'm reading this Dan Patrick Show interview with Pablo Torre. Pablo Torre, when discussing Bill Belichick's relationship with Jordan Hudson, one person said she is the worst person I've ever had to deal with on earth, and I've dealt with actual psychopaths. I'm not saying that is everyone. I'm just saying this story is extreme. This Belichick, Jordan Hudson stuff. I know that it gets sensationalized, and she could be a bit crazy, don't get me wrong. But it's got to a point where, is this really that big of a deal? Like, get me to Saturday and in the fall at Chapel Bill, and let's see what Bill Belichick is as a head coach in college football. I've had enough already with this Belichick Jordan Hudson story. And then I read also during the break, let me pull this up. It was from a New York Post article about Jordan Hudson that, like, supposedly she showed up to one of his commercial shoots for Underdog, and she wanted to be in it, and she was pitching herself to be in this commercial. I guess Bill Belichick was sitting by the pool, and she was like wearing a bikini, and then they filmed her just to make her think that she was going to be in it, and then she wasn't actually in the commercial. Like, she does seem a bit much. I'll tell you, if there's one guest I could have on right now on radio, it's not Bill, it's not Jordan Hudson. It's Linda Holliday. Linda Holliday is the longtime girlfriend of Bill Belichick, now no longer his girlfriend. And they had a little split here, obviously, and Jordan Hudson came onto the scene. I would love to know Linda Holliday's whole thoughts about Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson right now. That would be a good spill the tea type of interview about Bill Belichick with one Linda Holliday. That's who I would. Samter, man, let's reach out to Linda Holliday. Let's see if we could get Linda Holliday on the show.
She just texted me back, so I'll set it up.
Yeah. How old are you, Samter?
Too young for her.
No. How old are you?
45.
45. I don't think she's gotta be careful here because we're talking about a lady. I think she's like 55, maybe, if not younger.
62.
Oh, 62. Yeah, that's a little bit too old for you. Maybe a little bit too old. You know, maybe she's a cougar, though. You never know. Maybe she's interested in Moist Mike, Big Mike, CBS. You never know. But that would be more age appropriate than Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. She's 62, right? And you're 45. Well, you're happily married, too, just to be clear. But, geez, 24 and 73. That just makes the hair on my neck just stand up. It's like, ooh, it's gross. Anyway, next question.
All right. Well, speaking of the Belichick and Jordan Hudson drama that won't go away, after the disastrous CBS interview, Pablo Torre, as you mentioned, reported that Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend has been banned from the UNC campus. However, the school responded back saying, quote, while Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the university, she is welcome to the Carolina athletic facilities. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand. End quote. Onside, offsides, UNC should have banned Hudson from the athletic facility.
No. Offside. It's Belichick's girlfriend. Could she be obnoxious? Could she be overpowering? Yes. But to ban her from the facility, yeah, I would not agree with that. So I would go offsides.
Offside.
Now, after getting backlash for requesting and being denied Lawrence Taylor's number 56 and Phil Simms' number 11, Abdul Carter has decided on a new number. The third overall pick is going with number 51, which is a combination of the two numbers that he wanted. Onsides, offsides, it's better for Carter to have his own number than to have LT's or Sims.
This is another one. I don't know which story I give two bleeps about more. Is it Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick, or is it Abdul Carter's jersey number? Like, who gives a rat's ass? All right, so he asked Phil Simms. He asked Lawrence Taylor. No and no. Fine with that. And now, 51, he gets to find his own way. He gets to build his own legacy. Is it better for Carter to have his own new number than have LT's or Sims? I don't think there's a difference. Doesn't matter to me. So I'm not going to say it's better here. So what? So I'm going offside here. This is like the biggest non-answer I'm ever going to give you because it's a dumb story. So offside.
All right, so Draymond is at it again after picking up his fifth technical of the postseason, this time for elbowing Naz Reid. Draymond is now just 2 techs away from a 1-game suspension. Now, after the game, Draymond did what he does best, and he played the victim card.
Look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family, and I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
Onside, offsides, Draymond is unfairly targeted by refs in the league because of his past actions.
No. How is he unfairly targeted? Should they not have given a technical foul last night? If anything, the referee held Draymond's hand like Draymond was a little child, and the referee was a mom who was like frightened when you're in the supermarket and you're just trying to get your groceries and your child's freaking out and was like, it's okay. Let's get you a lollipop. It's going to be all right. Oh, we'll get you some cookies. You'll be good. Because the referee should have given Draymond Green another technical foul when Draymond was berating the ref. So no, Draymond Green is not unfairly targeted by the rest in the league because he puts himself in this situation. It's the same thing over and over again. Each and every death, taxes, and come the playoffs, we're talking about Draymond Green acting like an a-hole. All right? That's what we do. It's the same jackassery year in and year out. What are we doing here? So you asked me, Draymond Green is unfairly targeted by rest in the league because of his past actions? Absolutely not. Offside.
Offside.
So speaking of NBA punishments, the league has decided to issue a warning to the Pacers guard Tyrese Haliburton for his rendition of Sam Cassell's big ball celebration. Now, many were surprised by the lack of a fine since the move has been banned by the NBA, and the league has historically fined players who have done the dance. Onside, offsides, Haliburton should have been fined for the dance.
Absolutely not. He did the Sam Cassell big ball celebration. We're going to fine someone? Right? Like, is this the NFL, the no fun league now in the NBA? He didn't do anything crazy. He did the big ball celebration. It was hilarious. It was awesome. It was entertaining. Good for Tyrese Haliburton. That would be a complete and utter disgrace if the NBA fined him for that. And like, seriously, what Adam Silver lets his players get away with, if they would have stepped in and said, hey, Tyrese Haliburton, the children are watching. What about the children? They can't see the big ball celebration. Come on. That would be ridiculous if they fined him. So Haliburton should have been fined for the dance? Heck no. Offside.
Offside.
Have I been offside for everything
You are
today?
5 of 5, Zach.
Wow. I'm in a no mood today.
All right, so after just one season of the new 12-team college football playoff format, the committee is considering expanding it even further. Today, Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger reported that the Power 4 commissioners met yesterday, and there's growing support for a 16-team format that will give multiple automatic qualifiers to conferences. The Big Ten and SEC would each get 4 automatic qualifiers each, and then 2 for the ACC and Big 12, 1 for a group of 6 team, and then 3 at-large bids. Onsides, offsides, you like this new 16-team format idea?
Offside. You can hit it.
Offside.
I'll give you the commentary. I don't like the 16-team format idea. I didn't like going to 12. I thought if we were going to expand from 4, that at most we should go to 8. But I'm realistic. I know what moves college football and college sports. Money, money, money. The cash, the dinero, the moolah. That's what moves college sports. So college athletics, the NCAA can make more money by going to a 12-team format. You drastically jump when it was unnecessary to expand from 4 to 12. So am I now surprised that they're going to 16? No. But as I said earlier, I'll say it again. I'm addicted to football. So I could sit here, I could bitch and complain, I could say, oh, it's ridiculous how they expanded this. Or they already expanded to 12, they're gonna expand it to 16. I know I'm gonna sit down on Saturdays, I'm gonna watch my football, place my bets, eat my food, do all that stuff, and watch college football from 12 o'clock until I go to sleep at night, where I'm falling asleep watching college football. Because I love college football. So I could despise and detest the format and not like it and think it's unnecessary. And that's the answer to the question. I do not like going to 16. I think it's ridiculous. I think it is just pointless. And I think it's unnecessary. But I understand why they're doing it. And it's because if there's a way to get one more extra cent, football has showed us time in and time again, football will do whatever to get that extra cent even when they don't need to.
All right, let's see if we can go 7 for 7.
This is a full sweep.
It might be.
If I go offside here.
Oh. So just when we thought the Rafael Devers drama was over, it reared its ugly head again. The Red Sox star reluctantly switched to DH after the team signed Alex Bregman to play third base. Well, now the Sox lost first baseman Tristan Casas for the season after a knee injury and apparently approached Devers about moving to first base, an idea that Devers rejected immediately, as told by his translator.
They had the conversation with me. I don't think it's the best decision after, they asked me to play a different position. And I'd only have 2 months playing this position to all of a sudden have me try to play another position. They talked to me and basically, told me to put away my glove, that I wasn't going to play any other position but DH. So right now I just feel like it's not an appropriate decision by them to ask me to play another position. They put me in this situation and now, I think they should do their jobs essentially and hit the market and look for another player.
All right, onsides, offsides. Devers is completely justified in refusing to switch positions again.
That's via his interpreter, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. This guy's a jerk. He's a heck of a player. He's a jerk. He's a terrible teammate. You are getting paid a king's ransom. It'd be one thing if you weren't already getting the contract and you thought it would hurt your value. So he's all annoyed. He's all caught up in his feelings. Ooh, the feelings of Rafael Devers. Because they went out and got Bregman, and Bregman's the better defensive fielding third baseman. So they said, we're going to put Bregman at third. You're going to DH. Now the team is saying, we have a major injury. We would like to see if you could be effective at first base. And he's telling him to go kick rocks. Now, I know the Boston Red Sox have been run horribly for the last decade. Right? This is an organization with all that they've won. Their fan base hates this organization now. And they're still in it right now. Baseball season is young. You're a game over 500. You're 2 games back of the Yankees to have the AL East right now in the lead spot. And this guy's not at least willing to take a few ground balls at first base and try it out. You're already getting your money. I think this is inevitably going to end where Rafael Devers is going to request a trade at some point. Because he hates this organization right now. And I feel like Red Sox fans, they're just numb to losing players at this point because they got rid of the organization, Mookie Betts, which is one of the dumbest trades ever. You no longer have Xander Bogaerts. I think Red Sox fans are going to be like, okay, this is finally a season where you go into it and you feel like this team is starting to turn around. You feel like ownership is actually committed. And now this guy, Rafael Devers, isn't going to try to be a team player. I would look at that and I would say, look how much money you're making, right? Like if my boss has said to me, hey, Zach, we're paying you a king's ransom. And if they came to me in a few months and they said to me, we want you to do a middle of the day show. Even if I was like opposed to it, oh, you're still going to be paying me what I want, even though I'd rather do afternoons. No, we'll throw you in the middle of the day. I would have to accept it at some point. And Rafael Devers, you're still getting paid a lot of money. Go do what the team tells you to do. And stop acting like a little baby. Ugh, this whining star of Rafael Devers. So unlikable. So Devers is completely justified in refusing to switch positions again? Heck no. Offsides, clean sweep.
Offside.
All righty, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. We will do our 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time segment, which is supposed to be our 4:40 p.m. Eastern Time segment, but I made a boo-boo. I had a little mismanagement at 4:40 p.m. Eastern Time. So we come on back. The Maple Leafs are up 2-0. Is this finally their year? And give us a sports team that needs to break a curse. We'll do all that when we return. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. You can always interact with the Zach Gelb Show on Twitter and Instagram at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB, where we get great tweets, by the way. Like this last one that I got 13 minutes ago from M and then a word that I can't say on the radio. It starts with a B. Since when is the update guy supposed to be so opinionated? Zach Gelb, just give us news updates, then shut your mouth, you ass clown. That's what I just got. Okay. I'm literally paid to give my opinion. I've never done updates. I wouldn't even know how to do an update. I'm a talk show host. So I will respond to this person, M, with a B word that rhymes with itch, and that's their Twitter profile name, to shut your ass up, all right? Because you looking like the clown. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, where I do talk a lot, and sometimes I do need to shut up, and sometimes I do look like a clown, but I'm literally paid to give my opinion. So you tweeting me, just give us the update. What update do you want me to give you? I don't know what that update would be. But whatever it's doing on a Friday, I hope you find happiness on your Friday and hope you have a wonderful Friday evening thinking about me. And I love when you think about me and my award-winning updates that I've never given an update in my life. Anyway, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Sam, is that your burner, by the way?
You found it. You found my burner.
We're coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
I may be somebody's favorite around here. Any guesses, Stu? I just had a conversation with somebody in the newsroom, and this person loves me. Loves me. Big fan of mine. Want to take a guess?
Anthony Gallo.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Gallo coming up to me, he goes, I'm a little worried what the environment's going to be like at Madison Square Garden on Saturday. He goes, are you going? And I go, no, I'm not going Saturday. I'm watching with Carlos with a K, and we're going to this bar Mason Jar, and then we're going to go to the Mets game after the Knicks game ends. I won't be like Manny Rodriguez watching the Knicks game at a baseball game. So anyway, Gallo goes, I got to give you credit. I go, okay, what are you going to give me credit for? He goes, you had great seats for Game 5 up against the Pistons. And he's very concerned about the fans tomorrow because the tickets are so great. It's like $950 just to get in the door. Like, I have a friend that has a suite. And my friend that has a suite, his tickets are already, like, given out to clients. But he said, if you just get in the building, get a nosebleed and I'll get you up to the suite. So I was like, all right, if it's like $300-400 to get in the building, I would pay $300-400 to get in the building and then just go sit in a suite and eat a lot of food and, have a good time and watch the game. He told me it was $950 for a nosebleed ticket. I'm like, I'm not paying $950. I'm not paying $1,000 to go to a second round game. I'm not doing that. So Carlos with the K and I, we're going to go have some wings and drink some beer, a few beers, like 1 or 2, not a lot. And then we will go to Citi Field. And then we will watch the Mets up against the Cubs after the Knicks game ends. But Gallo goes, I got to give you credit because when you were at Game 5 up against the Pistons, he goes, all the people that have those very good seats, like in the first 6-7 rows, they all get up and leave at halftime, like right before halftime with 2.5-3 minutes left. He goes, I was watching you like a hawk. He goes, I wanted to see what type of fan Zach Gelb is. And he goes, I know you're large. I know you stand out. But you were sitting there until the half ended. So Gallo just praising me left and right when I'm walking around the newsroom. He's like, you got to get in the building on Saturday. He's telling me I'm the reason why the Knicks are going to potentially win. I go, Gallo, they lost the game that I went to. So I don't think I'm going Saturday. There's an outside, very minuscule chance that I end up going Monday. Potentially. But we'll see. I got some conversations to have with some people, see who's going to get me in the building. Anywho, let's do this. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, they are now up 2-0, and they have a commanding 2-0 series lead up against the Florida Panthers. This series has been interesting. A lot of people were complaining about the Bennett hit on Stolarz, the goalie. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I think now in hockey a lot of times, and we're used to hockey being played a certain way, every year in the playoff, there is something that is minor that turns out to be a bigger deal than it is, and I'm fine that the NHL basically did nothing to Bennett. But with that being said, the Florida Panthers are in a 0-2 hole, and this series is far from being over. If there is a team that could come back in hockey and get the job done, it's the Florida Panthers, and we'll see what transpires tonight when the series shifts back to Florida. And, hey, they do. I don't like this old adage, but they say a series really isn't over until you drop one on your home ice. I would not want to be in a 2-0 hole, but I've seen my hockey team before go to Carolina, lose the first 2, then wins games 3 and 4 at Madison Square Garden, then go back to Carolina, lose game 5, then win game 6, and then go to Carolina and win game 7. So I guess that theory could be true, but if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan right now, where a few years ago you got out of the first round, so you finally broke that curse, but you haven't won a Stanley Cup in forever. Canada hasn't won a Stanley Cup in forever as well. You've had an all-star team, and whether it's the goaltending or whether it's just the star players not showing up in the big moments, right? You've had a change in captaincy. You've had multiple coaches. Craig Berube is a Stanley Cup champion winning head coach with the St. Louis Blues. I thought that was a phenomenal hire. And I remember saying this offseason, if Berube can't find a way to get the best version out of this Maple Leafs team, then no one's going to be able to do it. So now being up 2-0, and I thought going into this series that this was a toss-up. It could go either way. But now being up 2-0, Toronto has to win this series or they're going to get clowned. So let's do this. Who's a team in sports, or, whether it's winning a championship or another curse, who needs to break a curse? So let's do this. We'll start with Stu, then we'll go to me, and then we're going to basically use Samter as a filler because Samter's going to give us like 6 or 7 answers before getting down to his answer. So, Stu, who's your first answer right there? What do you got cooking for us?
For me, it's kind of simple. It's the Buffalo Bills winning a Super Bowl, and obviously they've never done that before. They had the 4 straight AFC Championship, the 4 straight losses
in the Super Bowl.
After winning the AFC Championship. And then you have Josh Allen right now in his prime, and if you don't get this done with Josh Allen, you might not see another Josh Allen for 50 years. So I think they have to do it, and they have to do it in the next handful of years, or they're going to waste Josh Allen, which is crazy to say.
And they had Jim Kelly, Hall of Fame quarterback, the 4 straight Super Bowl appearances, couldn't get the job done. Now you have a quarterback who's the best quarterback in the history of the franchise, just in terms of talent, in Josh Allen. And they've had so many games where Josh Allen has played great, and they failed to get the job done. Like how they haven't got through one time up against Kansas City, and there's already such a list of games up with Bass missing the kick, the 13-second game or whatever it was, and then this past year too. It's amazing how many times they come up short up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's mine. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. The Cleveland Browns, since 1999, what the heck are they doing at quarterback? They need to find a franchise quarterback. I've gone through. Here are all the quarterbacks since 1999 that have started games for the Cleveland Browns. Stu, when you hear a new quarterback's name, just count. Because
sure,
I will lose track of it. Just when you hear, like if I say Tim Couch and then Tim Couch again, just count them one time.
Okay.
So 1999, Tim Couch, Ty Detmer, Doug Peterson, Tim Couch again, Spurgeon Wynn, Tim Couch again, Tim Couch, Kelly Holcomb, Tim Couch. That's just from 1999 to 2003, by the way. People have started games. 2004, Jeff Garcia, Luke McCown, Kelly Holcomb again. 2005, Trent Dilfer, Charlie Fry. What a throwback. 2006, Charlie Fry. 2006, Derek Anderson. 2007, Derek Anderson. 2007, Charlie Fry. 2008, Derek Anderson. 2008, Brady Quinn. 2008, Ken Dorsey. 2008, Bruce Gradkowski. Man, I'm really making Stu's counting methods just work here.
Third hand here.
2009, trust me, you'll need more than 2 hands and 2 feet for this one. 2009, Brady Quinn, Derek Anderson. 2010, Colt McCoy, Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace. 2011, Colt McCoy, Seneca Wallace. 2012, Old Man Brandon Weeden and Thad Lewis. 2013, I got to catch my breath here. Jason Campbell, Brandon Weeden, Brian Hoyer. 2014, Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel, Connor Shaw. Connor Shaw. Can anyone tell me what college Connor Shaw went to? Just wondering.
Wasn't that the assistant coach for the Michigan Wolverines who got in trouble?
That's Connor Stallions.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
Connor Shaw. Anyone have a guess here?
I think it was South Carolina, right?
Very good, Stu. Look at that.
How about that?
Stewie football. 2015, Josh McCown. 2015, Johnny Manziel. 2015, Austin Davis. 2016, Cody Kessler. 2016, RG3, Robert Griffin III. 2016, I said Luke McCown earlier, right? Did I?
Yes.
Yeah, now we have Josh McCown. 2017, Deshaun Kaiser, Kevin Hogan. 2018, Baker Mayfield, Tyrod Taylor. Oh, now we have some consistency. Baker Mayfield in 2019, Baker Mayfield in 2020, Baker Mayfield in 2021, Case Keenum in 2021, Nick Mullins in 2021, Jacoby Brissett in 2022. Deshaun Watson in 2022. Deshaun Watson in 2023. Joe Flacco in 2023. Dorian Thompson-Robinson in 2023. PJ Walker in 2023. That was my college classmate. Jeff Driscoll in 2023. 2024. Man, I wish I was getting paid by the word in this segment. Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Bailey Zappi. Stu, how many quarterbacks was that? Just not the same name, just, you know, just to start a game.
That would be 40 different quarterbacks.
Oh, my God. 40?
40.
Holy smokes. From 1999. So with all that being said, the curse that needs to be broken is the Browns finding a franchise quarterback. All righty, we go to Michael Samter looking for a curse to be broken in sports.
You know, I had a few written down here, but like after that one with the Browns, I don't think anything's going to beat that. That is awful.
Now, hold on. I apologize to the YouTube chat. Moist Pork is a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. He's listening. Moist, I apologize sincerely that I just put you through that pain and that PTSD. I really do apologize from the bottom of my heart. Anyway, Santo, what do we got cooking? Moist Mike, what do we got?
So when I was thinking of in the hockey world, the winner of the President's Cup, most points in NHL, 2013 was the last time they won the Stanley Cup. That was the Chicago Blackhawks. So that's one of those ones. So I guess that would be the Winnipeg Jets this year.
Okay.
But it's been 12 years. How about the Cleveland Guardians back in baseball?
What was the first point of the 12 years?
So no team that's won the President's Cup in hockey has gone on to win the Stanley Cup since 2013.
Okay.
So the Winnipeg Jets could break that curse.
Mm-hmm.
The Cleveland Guardians haven't won a World Series since 1948. They've lost 3 different times in the World Series.
Yeah.
We discussed it earlier. The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer, but they do have a Pope, which is amazing. The New York Jets, my New York Jets, and the Buffalo Sabres, 14 consecutive seasons without a playoff appearance.
But I'm on a limb here. I don't think the Jets go to the playoffs this year. Just going out on a limb.
But I'm going to go with this one. The Detroit Lions, who have not only never won a Super Bowl, they have never been to a Super Bowl.
Also, I'm going to give you one more. And I feel like when we talk about NFL teams that are cursed, we talk about the Cleveland Browns, right? We talk about the Buffalo Bills. We talk about the Detroit Lions. The Vikings have had some nasty, and I mean nasty losses. So I don't want to, take away from Vikings fans' pain. So I'll just throw the Minnesota Vikings obviously in there as well. But yeah, like you look around, we're talking Cleveland. You just said Detroit, and Stu ended up going with the Buffalo Bills. It's tough to beat those. We had some curse breakers in our lifetime, obviously. The Red Sox, the Chicago Cubs. There's been some big curses broken in our lifetime.
The Cavaliers?
Yeah. And LeBron, Cleveland, this is for you with all that. So there's been some curses broken. But we'll see if the Maple Leafs can win the Cup this year. That's one to look at, especially being up 2-0. All righty. We'll take our final break of the day. Ack, I thought you said something offensive, if I'm being honest, and I thought I got blamed for you. I got tweeted by someone earlier that was like, "You're just the update guy. Why are you giving your opinion constantly?" They were saying that to me, and I'm like, "Oh, we didn't give Ack. I don't remember going to you at all during this show."
No.
Yeah.
I don't. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I thought you said something that I'm taking.
What's wrong with my opinion? Who are you, Mr. Guy on Twitter?
Yeah, right.
That's right.
I welcome your opinion all the time. I think a good show is everyone can give their opinion. Feel free to chime in. And then,
I got lots of them. Sometimes they're better kept unsaid.
Well, I will say that your best opinions are when it has to be associated with something with history or a fact. That's when you become an almanac.
So I don't know about that. I have a lot of things to say, as I said.
Should we start ranking employees around here? Yeah. And you give us your true thoughts on some of the employees around here.
Which Santa are we ranking?
Samter, Ack just had it out for you this week.
Listen, Pope Samter says, "I forgive you, Ack."
Thank you.
Yeah, Samter now thinks he's the Pope because AI has made him a photo of the
Pope.
Hey,
one of those 100 guys, you never know. Could be.
And I couldn't beat up the Pope. That would not be good on the resume. Zach Gelb beats up the Pope would not be good.
Yes.
You lived in Chicago how many years?
2.5.
Okay. Do you take pride in the Pope being from Chicago?
You know, well, first of all, I'm not Catholic,
yes,
so I think that's hard. So I know Chicagoans do. I mean,
were you a Cubs fan when you were there, or a White Sox fan?
Oh, I'm a National League guy. So, and I lived on the north side, walking distance from Wrigley. So, and the Cubs were so bad, but it was so good on a Friday afternoon when I was off to just walk over there, walk up, and they basically say, "Where do you want to sit?" I always wanted to
because you're a big star, right, on the radio.
No, I mean they had so many vacancies, so I always wanted to sit in the bleachers. I wanted to get that experience.
Were you rowdy then? Was Zach rowdy? I can't imagine you being rowdy.
No, not at all. But I wanted to sit in the bleachers, but they were so bad and they had so many good seats. They'd give me a seat. I was sitting with the radar guys, 5 rows behind the plate. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Were you a big pizza guy in Chicago? Because you could be a pizza snob. You didn't like that pizza.
I like New York style pizza, so that was not for me. That was
if you need a fork and a knife, it's not pizza.
Yes, exactly.
That's kind of my philosophy.
But I will say, Chicagoans take immense, enormous, whatever word you want to use to describe it. That's how much civic pride they have, and I'm sure they are absolutely beaming at the new pope.
Will you see a 4,000-yard passer in your lifetime with the Bears?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, just with the way the game's trending.
Well, could be this year. You never know.
I hope it be this year. If they don't get 4,000 yards out of Caleb Williams this year, guess what? That means the guy's a bust or he got hurt.
I remember when 3,000 yards was a lot.
Yeah, back in the Stone Age. Anyway, Here's the Zach Gelb Show on the
14-game schedules.
Now 16 teams in a college football playoff. Yeah. Oh, no. All righty, let's get an update on here, Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Yeah, how about those opinions? Yeah, I said it. The Browns used 2 picks in the draft on running backs, which seems to signal the end for Nick Chubb. GM Andrew Berry said it's unlikely the 7-year veteran will be back. Chubb is the team's 3rd all-time leading rusher. The Thunder and Nuggets resume their series, which is even at 1. Oklahoma City dropped the series opener for its first loss of the postseason, but then left no doubt in Game 2, racing out to a 24-point lead and a 43-point win. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the way with 34, but has already put that win behind him.
Just like we couldn't relish on the loss, we can't relish on the win. We got to move forward, take the good things from tonight, and scratch the bad things and be a better team come the next game, and that's what we're focused on.
The Thunder bottled up Nikola Jokic, holding him to just 17 points. In the East, top-seeded Cavaliers down 0-2 to the Pacers with Game 3 tonight in Indiana. The Stanley Cup playoffs continue as the defending champs try to get back into their second-round series. The Florida Panthers host the Maple Leafs after dropping the first 2 games in Toronto. They'll be without Anthony Stolar as their goalie once again. And the Jets host the Stars after falling in the series opener. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh, my God. We're back
All righty,
again.
this is Zach Gelb Show, the Infinity Sports Network. We're going through all the quarterbacks that the Cleveland Browns have had since 1999. We mentioned Charlie Fry. Charlie Fry is not calling into the show, but Daniel in Hawaii, I guess, knows Charlie Fry at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476, and he wants to share that. So what's happening, Daniel?
Yes, hello.
Yes, Daniel, go ahead.
Oh, all right, hold on. I'll do it back. Don't do it. I'm doing two. I'm multitasking. I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
Multitasking. I was in a store trying to. You gave me 5 minutes. I didn't. Finish in time.
What are you doing in the store? Just wondering. You getting something nice?
Yeah, beer.
Oh, you getting a little beer. What kind of beer you getting on a Friday?
The best one I like is 8%. So it's called Hurricane. Not the best beer, but it's pretty part.
So having a little
8%.
fun on a Friday. So what do you want to talk about, Daniel?
So you guys were talking about the Browns in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids went to school with Charlie Fry.
Oh, really?
I've known him since he was about 7 years old.
They went to Akron together?
No, Willard. He went to Willard High School.
Oh, you mean in high school, not college?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, high school. Yeah, high school.
So what's the scouting report on a young Charlie Fry? Just wondering. What do you remember?
Well, I saw him play a lot, and I thought he was a really good player. He went to Akron, got a full scholarship and all that. You obviously know all that stuff. And then what? He became MVP in the Senior Bowl. And so I always liked him. He was always a good kid.
Gotcha.
And
well,
knew his parents and everything.
Well, are you eating anything with that beer tonight?
Yes.
What are you eating?
My wife surprises me all the time, especially on Friday night. But she'll cook out something good.
So you got your wife making you something. You're taking care of the beer, and you're gonna have a nice Friday night, is what you're telling me.
And I got her wine too. Yeah. I got
wine. A little wine and dine. If she makes you chicken wings tonight, just wondering, you going ranch or blue cheese with those wings?
Oh, everything's blue cheese.
Thank you. That's how I know you're an acceptable human being to society. Appreciate the phone call, Daniel, and have a great Friday evening. Daniel in Hawaii knows Charlie Fry. You know what? I will give Stu and Samter all the money that I have right now in my wallet. If you could tell me what Charlie Fry's job is right now. He's on an NFL team.
Oh, I was going to say real estate.
Hands up. Hands up. I want your hands up in the air. Let me see those hands.
Hey, Alexa.
Where is Charlie Fry? Hey, Siri.
Hey, Siri.
Oh, my Siri on my computer just went off. Where is Charlie Fry coaching right now, and what's his position? Give you all the money in my wallet.
I'm going to go with...
Hands up, Stu. And Samter.
I'm going to go with offensive assistant for the Green Bay Packers.
Not a bad guess, but you're wrong.
I will go.
Samter, don't you look this up and have Stu Saul, you son of a bitch. Don't be doing that. Stu, I want an answer now. I feel like Jack Bauer. I want an answer now. I'm not talking to you.
I will go quarterback coach for, let's say, Tulane.
Tulane.
First of all, you said
Random.
NFL job, by the way.
Oh, did he say NFL? I thought he said football job.
I just looked it up. I'm shocked.
Minnesota Vikings defensive assistant.
Defensive assistant.
Yes. Defensive.
I'm looking at his coaching career. Jones, Florida, OC at Wakiva, Florida.
I don't even know what the heck that is.
Me neither. Ashland, wide receivers coach. OC at Central Michigan. Quarterbacks coach for the Dolphins. Offensive analyst for Penn State. Florida Atlantic OC. Now he's a D assistant? That makes no sense.
Yeah, defensive assistant.
I was close. I was in the
Wikipedia.
right division. I had the
You want to know how much money you guys would have won?
$12. You're not a cash guy. I don't see you walking around with a lot of
I did
cash.
come back from Vegas with a lot of cash.
Yeah, but you have that credit card bill to pay.
No, but I deposited the cash.
Oh,
anyway.
okay.
I don't think I have $1 in my wallet right now. It is, yeah, it's all cards and my license and a PBA card and my enhanced ID and my SAG-AFTRA ID.
Oh, you got your enhanced ID?
Got my enhanced ID.
Good.
Terrible picture.
The lines for the DMV are like 5 hours long because people are scrambling to get their real IDs.
Terrible picture. I had my photo for when I was 16 for my learner's permit up until now. I need a new photo. I was too tall for them taking the photo. So they made me like crouch down. I look so old. I look so terrible. It is an awful. I used to have a great license photo when I was 16. This photo now, I look terrible. It is like, I showed it to someone. They said, it doesn't even look like you. So I flew with it and I had no problem, but geez, terrible photo. It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. We have Ashley, who is chiming in from New York, who says, Zach, do you think the Knicks win tomorrow? You can submit a question by tweeting at INFSports or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low price and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ashley, that's what I think. I don't know if the Knicks win tomorrow. Now, you're asking me the question. I do think the Knicks are going to win one of the next two. I'm going to say they win tomorrow. They lose game 4. So I think they're up 3-1 going back to Boston for a little game 5 up against the Boston Celtics at TD Garden. As for the games tonight, I will give you a little preview on the games tonight. I think this is a huge test for the Thunder. Like, you lose game 1, you should have won game 1. You got blown out
You blew out the Nuggets in game number 2. You won by 43 points. If you're ready to go win a championship this year, you don't mess around with the Nuggets. You don't mess around with the preeminent player in the NBA, Nikola Jokic. I like the Thunder tonight, and I like the Thunder big. Not 43 points big, but I think they'll cover the 5.5. The Cavs and the Pacers, the Cavs are getting some bodies back. It's tough to really give you a read until you know who definitely will play. My gut tells me, though, the Pacers, just like the Knicks, who are up 2-0 now going back home, they will win one of these next 2. So since I picked the Knicks to win game 3 and lose game 4, I'll reverse it here. I think the Cavs win game 3. The Pacers then win game 4, and it will still go back to Cleveland at 3-1. So that's what I'm rocking and rolling with. And the next time the Golden State Warriors get on the court is mañana, the Timberwolves and the Warriors. I don't love what I'm seeing from the Timberwolves, quite frankly, even though it's tied up at 1 apiece. And I know Steph is out and he's not going to play tomorrow. I think the Timberwolves will mess around here in Golden State and they'll lose one of these games. I don't think whoever prevails with the Timberwolves or Warriors will beat either the Thunder or the Denver Nuggets. I think you'll see either the Thunder or the Denver Nuggets go to the NBA Finals. And right now, I obviously think it's going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think we're on a collision course to see the Knicks and the Thunder in the NBA Finals. And who would have thought that before the playoffs start, at least in the Eastern Conference? Alrighty, that will do it for another week of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We appreciate you tuning on in. Big thanks to Stu, big thanks to Samter, big thanks to Ack, and big thanks to each and every one of you, however you do consume the radio program, whether it's on one of our local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, or as always, streaming on YouTube. We'll be back on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Make sure you give us a follow on social media. You can interact with us throughout the weekend. Or you can see me and Carlos at the K having a Saturday together. I'll put some photos up there. At Zach Gelb on Twitter and Instagram, ZACHGELB, and then I'll probably block Carlos after Saturday. We'll talk on Monday, everybody. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.